Hi, I'm Hadley Malcolm with USA Today. I'm joined by Bob Powell, USA Today retirement columnist. We're going to talk about what you do at the year end. You know, it might be time for holiday shopping, but we should probably also be thinking about what we're doing with our money going into the new year.
Right, so this is a great time to check in with your money. You've got lots of issues going on. You've got tax issues that are going on, for instance. You need to check, for instance, whether you've paid enough in taxes, and you don't want to be surprised come April 15th. You want to look at your portfolio, right? We've had a year in which the stock market has been up, interest rates are still low. And for most people, this is a perfect time to check their asset allocation, their investment policy statement, and to see if their portfolio has changed dramatically from where it was at the beginning of the year and make any adjustments that they might need to make. For folks who are age 70 and a half, they have to take required minimum distributions from their retirement accounts, and you need to do that before the end of the year, otherwise there's a stiff penalty. So there's lots of to-do lists that you need to check and think about.
So why is the year end a good time to do this? I mean, it seems like people are so crazy around this time anyways, but why should this be something that we're prioritizing?
Well, you're right, Hadley. It's a bad time actually to do some of this stuff. The time to have done it would have been September, October, November, but for most people, we're procrastinators. We wait until the last minute, and so this is the time of year when people start thinking, okay, what do I need to do that I haven't done? And it could be many different things. Like, for instance, this is a good time to check the what are called beneficiary designations on your retirement account. So if you had a life-changing event like a divorce or a death in the family, many people have IRAs and retirement accounts where the beneficiary who would receive your assets if you were to pass is an ex-spouse or someone who's deceased. So now is a great time to say, oh, there was a life event in my life. I need to check my beneficiary designation, for instance.
What are a couple other, like 2 or 3 main things that you think people should be focusing on, like beneficiary designations?
Well, I think, you have to look at the whole panoply of, say, financial planning things. So there would be basic things, your budget, your cash flow. You want to take a look at your debt, and for instance, if you have any credit card debt and you haven't set up a system to pay down your debt, and if all you're doing is paying the minimum, you might want to take a look at some spreadsheets out there or some websites like Bankrate that will help you create a schedule to pay down your debt. So credit is one. Budgeting, how's your cash doing? Are you saving enough for retirement? Have you done a retirement calculation to figure out how much you need in your nest egg? Also, it's a good time to check your insurance policies, both your homeowners, your auto, your life insurance. Again, if you had a life event, a birth of a child, or you're divorced or something, maybe your life insurance needs have changed. You want it, for many people, for instance, this is the time of year. If you're elderly and you're on Medicare, we're in open enrollment season. What happens there is you need to enroll in another Medicare plan, and so this is the perfect time to think about that if you're older. Estate planning, check your wills. Just there's a big checklist, and it would be overwhelming to most people. But if you can sort of just put it on one piece of paper and just tick them off as you go through them, you'll be happier come January 1.
So speaking of January 1, I'm sure at least some people are making financial goals part of their New Year's resolutions. What would be your advice for making financial goals a success, being able to stick to them?
So the big problem is that many people say, oh, I'm going to save 10% of my salary. And right now the average amount that people save in America in 401ks is 6% of their salary. So going from 6 to 10 is a big step for many people. It would mean a reduction in someone's standard of living. The best thing to do is to make these goals manageable, concrete, one-step goals. So, for instance, instead of saying I'm going to save 10% of my income, maybe say I'm going to move from 6% to 7%, or I'm going to go from $100 a week to $125 a week. Something small, concrete, manageable. The last thing that you want to do is set up these big goals that you can't accomplish, and then you feel bad, and you look back at your list from a year ago, and it's the same list that you put together this year.
Make them in increments, it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. The thing that it's like weight loss or exercise, right? People always start the new year and say I'm going to lose 25 pounds or I'm going to exercise 3 times a week, and what happens is come next year you haven't lost any weight and you're still not exercising. So and the big problem is that we understand the behavior of people, and that you just can't set goals that are too big for yourself.
Thanks, Bob. We've got more holiday and year-end planning articles at usatoday.com/money.